Like, Jason, have you ever been around a Kings team that you get out of the first camp or two and it's like there's no good vibe there? It's like, oh, things aren't really going well.
Everybody feels good after you're practicing against yourselves. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing in football where they look great. Of course, they look great on defense. They know what you run. I mean, it's just everyone's like, like I said, every year you think we're going to the playoffs. It's going to be the year it changes. And I always say it changes when you have that 3-game losing streak. And what do? Do you show you're different, or do you go back to who you've always been? So, I'm really of the opinion of let's see around Christmas where they are.
Was there? We were just asking a question. Was there a training camp or a first, maybe not the first day, or first 2 days in training camp in recent memory when everybody collectively, even maybe some players are like, oh, we stink?
Not so much we stink, but I remember a couple of years ago when after the team had, signed guys like Aretha or whatever, it was right after it was Luke's first year after Dave Yeager was gone. And all the young guys are like, we were 9th last year, 45 wins in the playoffs. Yeah, that's the goal. And you ask the vets, they kind of went like, okay. I mean, like they realized like the reality of where they were and that it wasn't some guarantee that because you won X amount of games this year that you naturally went up a level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of the process this team has struggled with, is that you had guys who didn't understand the level of work, dedication, the mental toughness, all those things that it takes to be a, say, 50-win team in the NBA.
Mm.
They just kind of felt like, we won 39 games last season. The progression should be 45.
Mm-hmm.
We should be above 500. And then they went out there and got smacked around the first week of the NBA season. So that's probably the closest I got where that was even before training camp. And that was, the whole, we got to go to India, all that other stuff that went into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of why some of the vets were like, I don't know. I like the optimism, but do these guys really know what it's going to take? And we saw they really didn't know.
Have you been to any practices yet?
No, my job's kind of changed up a little bit. So, they're expanding what I do in terms of just our culture vertical. We're doing some different things with the NBA they're adding me to. So my like day-to-day going to practice, writing off of every game thing, that's not going to be the thing with me with the Kings this season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not moving. I'm not like walking away completely. I'll still be going to some games and things like that. I just won't be the Kings won't be my only focus. I mean, I've been doing our culture calculus podcast for The Athletic. I've been I wrote the thing about NFL players and obesity, done some, music, movie type things. So I'll be doing more of that in addition to my NBA work and also helping with our news team. So the days of me at every practice, my kids appreciate it. Sure. I haven't been able, I got on the beat full time at 30. I'll be 43 this month. So I gave my 30s to watching them lose 2/3 of their games.
Oh.
I miss stuff with my kids and everything to watch them, get their heads beat in. So it's not that I'm completely walking away. It's just going to be a different approach. And, the way life will have it, this will probably means they'll like make the playoffs this year and everyone will say, see, we should have got rid of you and had you do something different 10 years ago. Maybe things would have been different.
Well, first of all, let me give some air horns.
Yeah. Now we got to book Jason through his assistant.
That's what I'm saying. Man. You know what I'm saying? It's only a matter of time before, he's doing sideline for TNT.
Oh, no. You're not going to see me doing that. You're going to see me trying to get to the halftime Super Bowl show. You know me. I'm trying to get the Dre.
Tell me about
it. Aren't we all?
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to figure out, hey, we need about 50. You need a story on every Snoop album.
Yeah.
You need the significance of the Chronic and Chronic 2001. I need to be there for all of that.
Bro, put me in the pit.
Do a story on the Lost Detox album. Like Dre is
fascinating because there's so many people out there who have I saw a clip on I think it was Instagram where Too Short talked about this verse that Dre made him do over like 2 days for Detox that never came out.
Can you imagine devoting 2 days to something and then the guy just goes, forget it?
Yeah, and essentially the way Too Short told the story, it was over one specific word Dre wanted him to say one way, and he couldn't say it right. And Dre's like, no, don't say it like that, like this. And he put all this time in there, and then for what everyone says, there's all these great songs just sitting somewhere.
Somebody need to ask Dre about Detox.
He said it wasn't good enough. He said he just thought it would fall short. Like it got to be such a big story. He thought it would fall short of what people wanted it to be.
Yeah,
and people just want it. I mean, I feel like my oldest kid is 13. I think even before I even had kids, I've been hearing about Detox.
For real.
I mean, this is I go back to what the Game's like debut album, like in 2004, talking about helping out with Detox.
Yeah.
So I mean, you probably have to re-record almost the whole thing anyway, because there's probably references that aren't even relevant anymore. I mean, there was no social media really when they started Detox.
I hit her up. She hit me back on MySpace because it's MySpace.
Two-way pagers and
he's got a clip,
all that.
Watching the first season of The Sopranos. Like, what? Wait, what? Like, what are you talking about?
Y'all catch The Wire yet? The Wire. Yeah, I mean, this,
release it as is in the hip hop world would be all over it.
Oh man, he got platinum in a week.
I mean, half these Jay-Z features that come out, half these Jay-Z features that come out are like old stuff that's been out forever. People still go, "Oh my God, it's Jay-Z."
Mm-hmm.
So come on, Dre, give us Detox.
I didn't know until maybe a couple of weeks afterwards or whatever. But the What It Feels Like song from the Judas and Messiah, that Nipsey verse is like 7 years old.
Wow, I didn't know it was that old. But,
yeah, it's like a really old verse. But I mean, a testament to him. Like you would never know when you hear his bars and how he's rapping and things of that nature. But yeah, it's like a 7-year-old verse.
Yeah, that's crazy. So come on, Dre. There's the fact that I was in my 20s when you started working on it. There's no reason to hold back.
Do we get a Nipsey hologram duet with a Tupac hologram in LA?
Wow.
Ooh, man.
I don't know what they're going to do. But I know it's going to be epic. I know that much.
I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't know why Eminem is there.
Hey, man, I like Eminem. That's Dre. That's Dre.
Hey, you know why Eminem is there. You said it the first time around. Just stop it. You know why Eminem is there.
I like Eminem, so I don't mind. To me, the outlier was Mary J for this one reason. It's like everyone else is like a strong Dre, disciple on one way. It was like, okay, I guess he wants someone to sing, and he's done stuff with Mary, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to know how come the Game didn't get invited.
Well,
or 50. But I mean, I don't think they wanted anybody fighting. But then again, it wasn't that long ago, Snoop and Eminem had their little social media sniping at each other.
That's right.
But I guess Dre told him to stop.
And that's the power of the DRE right there. Is like Snoop, you can't bicker at anybody anymore, by the way. Like you in every commercial, you and Baker Mayfield are in every commercial that's on television right now. Stop it. No one's going to take your beef seriously.
I think Snoop was on
imagine going back to 94 and saying that Snoop would have, would be doing stuff with Martha Stewart and he'd be like America's favorite uncle.
Man.
Snoop was hosting the Puppy Bowl. I seen him hosting the Puppy Bowl this year.
Snoop has done just about his Olympics thing with Kevin Hart was hilarious.
That was funny.
Yeah.
When he said the horse was crip walking.
Yeah. That was great. That was so good. I don't know how we got there. Oh, you were telling us about the new job. I was like, man, how do I get us back to the Kings? How did we get to crip walking horses? That's right. Jason's new job covering the crip walking horse. Is there something that is there a particular player or maybe storyline that you're looking to see how it develops over the course of these handful of preseason games?
I'm interested in just how many guards can you play at one time?
Mm-hmm.
I think they've got 4 guards they have to play. And I know they talked about, Buddy can be a small forward in today's NBA. I mean, yeah, but I mean, you can say that, but I also know they would dread the moment that Buddy's playing 30 minutes of small forward. So I'm just wondering just how do we end up seeing like a version of that Houston team that was in the 2020 season where they just went all in and just had all those guards.
Yeah.
And Eric Gordon's playing the 4. I just wonder, or James Harden, do you get to that point? I'm just curious to see just how do you use all these guards and then mix in like all 6 big, I think they've got some versatility, but it's going to be really weird because their strength is really in their guards, and you really only have 2 NBA wings with size, and Mo and Harrison. And do you start Harrison at the 4 and just say Harrison, Rashawn, and we're just going to roll guards out there? It's going to be real interesting to see how they figure this thing out.
Yeah, and I speculated, and Damian was kind of the same thinking of if you have Buddy coming off the bench, maybe that's where you spread out the guard minutes. And Buddy, as a starter, playing the quote unquote 3 role, I don't think that's where you want to go. But if you have him as a 3 coming off the bench and you go 3 guard lineup that way with a Davion, Terrence Mitchell, Buddy Hield, maybe Mo Harkless at the 4, and Tristan or Alex Lynn at the 5, maybe that might work. I've been critical a little bit of Buddy's game, but
a little bit,
just a little bit, but he's not a scrub. And number 2, I think he could be really beneficial if his destiny is coming off the bench. And I always say, and being like a Terrence Ross, Lou Williams type guy, heat check guy, I think that's where he would be perfect for not only this team, but in the league. I know he wants to start, and I understand why. But if you get a backup rotation of Davion, Terrence Davis, and Buddy Hield, not only do they defend, but I think they're pretty explosive on the offensive end as well.
Yeah, and I think you have 2 guys that can handle the ball with Buddy, so he's not put into that, let me make a play off the bounce role. And you just tell him, you go in there and you shoot. You're open, you shoot. And they told him that last season, obviously. But the problem was with the lack of depth, those nights where Buddy's 3 or 14, you kind of had to leave him out there anyway. Even if logic says, do we take him out and say, put Corey Joseph in? There were all these little, back and forth. I know the coaching staff struggled with that. I think, in a 6-man role, if Buddy's hot, he plays 35 minutes. If Buddy's cold, Buddy plays 20. And I think if you have the depth to do that, that would be ideal, just because I talk to a lot of people around the league. A lot of them feel Buddy's best role is off the bench. And if you look at his numbers over his career in Sacramento, he's a much more efficient player off the bench. And I wouldn't want a player who doesn't want to start. To me, that's natural. But I think that the way the minutes are getting distributed, Buddy's going to play a lot. So either way, he'll be playing a whole lot of minutes.
Your Raider Nation will be on full display tonight. It is a 49ers Monday, brought to you by Gilmore Heating, Air, and Plumbing. You get more with Gilmore. I want to mention this quick note here before we get back to the Kings. Kyle Shanahan says Jimmy Garoppolo has a chance to play Sunday versus the Cardinals.
On Madden?
No, in real life.
I support that. For all my friends who are Niner fans, I support that. Let Jimmy play.
Stop it.
Let Jimmy play. You want a chance to win? I mean, the numbers bear out that when Jimmy starts, they win more times than not. Let Jimmy play.
It's time to move on from.
I get the feeling Jason Jones does not have 49er fans' best interest at heart when he says that.
Yeah, of course I do. Always do. I mean, I got several wonderful friends who are 49ers fans. I wish them nothing but the best, So if I see Jimmy G out there on Sunday, I'm going to be, hey, way to go. Great medical staff to get him back on the field.
Well, man, y'all can't see him.
This medical staff with everybody going down. It's great medical staff.
Jason sold that with a straight face too, man. He could be a heel out there on WWE. Trent Williams is day to day, according to Kyle Shanahan. So just a couple of notes there. Do you feel the same about your friends that are Giants fans?
I feel nothing for them. I mean,
I don't have no type of game to watch till Friday. So
that's lovely. That's wonderful.
I'll be chilling.
Congratulations.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I got the day off today because we don't have to prepare for nothing on Wednesday. Because when we win division titles, that's what happens.
Wow. Okay. Laugh now, cry later. Enjoy. I mean, don't act like they weren't sweating up till, shout out to San Diego for absolutely not caring on Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
They won on Saturday. They did a lot more than the Brewers did.
In San Diego's defense, they haven't cared for a long time.
Yeah, shout out to San Diego and Colorado, outstanding job by both organizations.
Did you sweep the Padres?
Yeah, we took the Padres.
They gave up 4 home runs in an inning.
Hey, I'm not speaking about that. I'm speaking about Sunday. You usually down like 15-1 in the third inning. That's the equivalent of I'm going to sit my guys and play the youngsters in the NFL finale. I was like, wow, way to go. That's okay. Hey, you get in, you do what you do. You beat St. Louis one game, and I'll stand by it. If they're in there, I picked them against anybody in a series. I picked the Dodgers to beat anybody in a series. So, I mean, I don't think there's any way MLB thought, what's going to happen? 2 teams are going to combine for like 213 wins in the same division, and one will have to beat the wild card. I mean, crazy. I don't think anyone, they're crazy. Like 15 games ahead of the Cardinals. The Cardinals are closer to every other division winner, and they had to win like 20 in a row to do that.
Yeah,
that doesn't make no sense.
I mean, I guess this has to be like, and then
a wild card game.
Yeah, and then say the Dodgers win. Now the two best records in baseball play in NLDS. I'm sure baseball loves this.
They absolutely should reseed then, but they're not going to, obviously.
They're not, I mean, but if you're a conspiracy guy, you're like, hey, as long as they get the Dodgers and like, another big team in the AL, they won't care. They'll say it's high drama, but I'd rather see the 2 best teams in the CS round, not in the DS round.
Well, I will say this: they couldn't have scripted a better, wild card 2 games there. Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Cardinals. You got a lot of history in those 2 wild card games, so good for them. Good for them. And the other thing is, this is probably, we're doing a lot of bickering about this format. This is probably the last great pennant race we'll see. I think they're going to expand the playoffs when they come up with this new deal, and you'll have what they got 4 teams in right now. I think it'll probably go to 6 in each league. Like, it won't be like this no more.
I just think it's ridiculous that you play 162 games and then say 1 game decides the next fate. To me, that's ridiculous. You play.
That's you didn't come in.
It's the same reason why I don't like the NBA playing. It's like, if you play that many games, why should a team that's 12 games out then get a shot to get in when you had 6 months to? That's the reason why I don't like either setup. I'm like, to me, we know who the 4 best teams in the NL are for sure. Let those 4 play. Why is St. Louis say, hey, guess what? We get to sneak in too. No, I don't like that. Even if it wasn't the Dodgers, I don't think it's fair to the Giants. They shouldn't get home field to play the Dodgers in the next round.
Well, Jason, you didn't come in first. That's how you eliminate all that. You come in first, and you don't have to worry about 1 game. Giants did.
Okay. All right. I'm writing all this down. I'm making very non-emotional points, and you're just going to remind me you didn't come in first. Okay. Okay. I'll remember this. Ideally, I'll be remembering this on Friday.
He's been petty Pendergrass all day, Jason.
What? Why would the Cardinals be playing the Giants and the Dodgers are going to play them?
Oh, all right. Okay.
Like I said, I'm not.
You guys never heard this. The night the Dodgers won the World Series, as I put up quotation marks, the night they won the World Series. Oh, you want to talk about a hit 'em up style rant? We had to record J Street Vibes. You want to talk about a hit 'em up style rant? Jason went on. I let him rock too. I let him rock.
Yeah, Giants fans.
He was getting about 12 years out of frustration out of his system.
Yeah, and it'll be, the We Believe Dodgers are back, against all odds, fight their way in as a wild card. This scrappy bunch, they're gonna fight, they gotta fight, and I'm here for the fight, and gosh, I just, this is just wow, it is what it is.
It is.
They didn't win enough games.
That's crazy, man. They won 106 games, didn't win enough. That all jokes aside, that's insane.
Yeah, really, I mean, this is a reminder. This has the feeling of when the Mariners won all those games 2 years back, and then got the Yankees, and everyone just knew they're not going to beat the Yankees. Like, that was a great regular, and that's how I kind of view the Giants. This is a great regular season for them to have to, if they get the Dodgers first, I say first to 70 wins, first to 80, first to 90, first to 100, first home. I mean, it could very well go like that for your
San
Francisco Giants, and maybe be in time home for Halloween. So those colors will just be perfect.
Maybe so. But all I know is we ain't playing the first game of the playoffs. I know that.
Congratulations.
Who's playing the first game? Is it the Giants or the Dodgers?
You tell me. You tell me.
I haven't denied that. I'm unbothered still. I'm not, hey, it is what it is. These are the rules.
It's my fault for bringing this up. And
I feel like Giants fans are way more pressed about this than Dodger fans are. I got hit up by more Giants fans in the last week than ever. I'm like,
one of the reasons
y'all in first place. Why are you worried about my sorry Dodgers?
We can't act like you guys weren't bumping your gums all year long, talking about eventually the Dodgers are going to take over first place. And you did that at every turn. You had your little banner, your little GIF when you were in first place for 12 hours.
Yeah, I laughed at you.
Yeah, you had that.
I also said, as long as they're in, it don't matter. They're winning in the whole thing.
Well, you're not in yet.
They're in.
No, you ain't in. You're in the postseason. You're in the wild card.
It said they had clinched the post. They're in the postseason.
You're in the wild card.
They're in the postseason. They could be eliminated for sure on Wednesday, but they're in the postseason.
It's like the Kings getting in the playing game. They ain't in the playoffs.
Actually, it's not the same.
There's a difference.
Actually, it's not the same. But okay. I mean, don't worry. That's why when Jimmy G's out there starting the rest of the season, I'll be so happy for you.
Wait a minute.
San Francisco sports fans deserve all my support and love. I'm gonna go buy me a Jimmy Garoppolo jersey and just. Yeah, maybe Kyle Shanahan can run a few more fullback sweeps and fullback reverses and get real cute and just really get the fan base riled up about that creative play calling. That was all you needed. 37 seconds away from glory. Hey,
that was
Russell
rough.
Wilson back. I'm sorry. I digress.
About 15 minutes ago, you mentioned Buddy's going to see a lot of playing time. Jason Jones of The Athletic joins us here on Dilo and KC. So Buddy Hield might see a lot of playing time. Who might not? We were just talking about that front court and how there could potentially be an odd man out and not getting much playing time as the season.
It's going to be one of the bigs. I mean, and to me, the obvious question mark is going to be what you do with Marvin Bagley. I mean. I don't know what you do. I mean, do you start him? If you're starting him, does it kind of come off like we're starting him because we have to, because he's the number 2 overall pick? But when pretty much all last season you were better when you played small. But then you didn't give Rashawn Holmes all that money to not start. No, obviously he's going to start. But then you signed. You trade for another big. You sign another big. With Lynn, you trade for Tristan Thompson. I don't know. Then you've got guys like Chimezi Metu, who I could see honestly being at the end of the rotation. You got guys like Damian Jones, who they like as a young player. But
what about Damian Jones?
Yeah, I guess you got guys on this team you forgot were there. It's because and they got guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is going to be. But I'm a firm believer that the team that's out here in October will not be the same team in February. I just don't. I think there's definitely going to be some changes over the course of the year. Because eventually you're going to have to probably get bigger on the perimeter, just the wing spots. You got to give Harrison. I mean, they gave Harrison a little help. Harrison's going to need more help just in terms of size and defense. Maybe Terrence can help in that area too. But I'd be shocked if February rolled around, the trade deadline passes, and the exact same team is there.
And see, this is one of the things that I talked about as well, Jason, is I feel, and tell me what you think. I feel like this team, the roster that they have, I think it's a good roster. It's a little unbalanced, yes, But compared to how they started the season, that roster they had last year, when it was like you had 5 guys, Corey Joseph, and then where do we go? I think I'd much rather have this problem where it's like, Alex Lynn or Tristan. Man, I don't know if this is a matchup. Tristan might not get minutes tonight. It might be Lynn or Chemezi might get in there. Like, you have different ways that you can go. Are we going to go 3-guard off the bench? Are we going to go 3-guard to close the lineup? I look at this roster, and this is one of the reasons why I am optimistic, is it's put together with more playable NBA players today than what we saw to start the season last year.
No, I completely agree with you on that. I mean, it's hard to for a coaching staff to go into a game knowing, okay, we basically got 6 players, 6.5. That's hard. Like I said, on nights where, say, a guy is struggling, you got to leave him out there, because who do you turn to? Do you throw a 2-way? I mean, as crazy as it sounds, last December, you had people arguing that why wasn't Kyle Guy playing? You got guys who leave the team and are like, can't get in, can't make a roster, or 2-way guys and guys who might be overseas soon. Meanwhile, a year ago, you're asking the coaching staff in Sacramento to give these guys rotation minutes. And I don't think you have that problem this year. This is a much better problem to have. I'd rather see, if you're a coach, I think you'd rather have too many guys to pick from in certain situations than to be like, you know what? You get to go back in, even though I don't have any. I don't really want to go back with you, but what are we going to do? So to me, this is a good problem for them. I mean, how you organize it, how you figure out I think it's going to be a game-to-game thing. I think they'll have multiple starting lineups. I think, if you're playing a big team, obviously you're not going to start Buddy Hield at the 3 against Michael Porter Jr. But there are going to be games where maybe that makes sense. There might, if you run into the rare team that uses 2 bigs, it might make sense to put say Tristan at the 5 and let Rashawn defend that bigger 4. I think there's going to be some flexibility they're going to have. They didn't, and I know for a fact they're looking forward to kind of seeing where can we plug those pieces in. What can we do a little differently? Because last year it got rough at times to be like, okay, all you've got to look at is Glenn Robinson III or Hassan Whiteside. That was all you really had, and Corey Joseph. And that was no versatility, not a lot of options. They've got some options now, so it'd be on Luke and the staff to figure out how to make best of those options and see can they at least crack the top 10. I've been saying since the end of last season, the top 10 in the West is doable for this team. I think they can. That's very realistic to be in the top 10.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you your expectations. I mean, we've kind of knowingly, and us well enough to know we're not like the overly optimistic, Kings fans. I expect this team to do well. I don't know what excuses they could fall on to not be. You mentioned top 10. I want to see them improve as a basketball team. Obviously, be significantly better defensively. You're significantly better defensively. That brings your overall record up. I think this team should hover around 40 wins, which probably gets them in the 9th or 10th spot that you're talking about there. That's my opinion.
That's very realistic. I'm not, like I said, then you're in the fight. Then from there, maybe you can make something happen and you get in the post. To me, if this team is 12th or 13th, a lot has gone wrong. That means maybe De'Aaron hasn't, become the player they thought he was going to be. Maybe, maybe Tyrese, maybe there's some injury issues. There's something wrong if this team is at the, hovering barely above OKC in the standings. There's something going majorly wrong for that to happen. I think they should be in the mix there. I mean, a 500 record is not impossible. I mean, to be in that mix and to say, going down this, and not last year where you're in the mix down the stretch, you got to do everything perfectly. I mean, be in the mix the whole way. No multiple 9-game losing streaks and crazy stuff like that. Again, you go 3-6 in one of those 9-game streaks, they're in the play-in. So are they close to being what I would call a consistent playoff team? No, but they're not. They don't really have we're a bunch of young guys excuse anymore. Right. De'Aaron's on his 2nd contract. Buddy's not young. Harrison's not young. Rashawn's not young. I mean, I guess Terrence Davis is young. I guess Davion Mitchell and Tyrese are young. But this is not a team.
But even by NBA standards, they're not that young.
Yeah. Those guys. I mean, Tyrese was to college for 2 years, which is like 5. And Davion's like an older rookie.
Yeah, Davion's older.
This is not a bunch of teenagers they're running. This isn't like when De'Aaron came into the league. You look at him, my gosh, he really is a kid.
Yeah.
No, Davion's. He's physically. It'll be different playing 82 games, but physically he's ready to compete against these guys. So they can't rely on young. They can't rely on, we don't have guys who want to play. They got guys who want to play defense now. Will they all do it? We don't know. But it's to me, the excuses are getting, especially the young excuse. I mean, they're not an old team, but this is not a bunch of guys on their first deals anymore. This isn't, some of the mistakes of youth and also those questions about, are they giving the proper effort? That's got to be unacceptable now. We can't be talking about effort anymore with these guys. They know what it takes to compete. They got to do it.
Tonight, preseason opener in general against the Phoenix Suns. Myself and Damian, we've talked about how preseason for the Kings and preseason for the Suns are not the same. The Suns can just say, we're not playing Chris Paul, not playing Devin Booker. We're just going to jog up and down the floor and be ready for the regular season. I feel, like I said, Damian feels the same way. The Kings are trying to establish something, and it feels like the preseason should matter. Like, you want to establish good habits defensively, the way you move the ball, all that other stuff. Is that off base, or can they look at a preseason game like tonight and be like, we want to play well and carry that momentum into the regular season?
I think they got to look at it like, especially their core guys. Like I said, don't look at as you guys don't look at the result of the game. Look at how those guys are playing together, how they're defending, how they're doing things. That's what I look for, is just, how are your key guys looking? Because they can't ease into it, because for a team like Sacramento, what's going to be a key is them getting early in the season and maybe catching the Utah slipping. Start stealing some wins early like they did a couple of years ago. Then maybe you can build up enough goodwill, momentum, and good habits to where when you get to after the All-Star break, you don't fall apart. Maybe it'll be a more realistic thing. So I think they've got to take these games, especially when you're integrating a guy like, Davion into your rotation. He's got to play with the regular guys and get a feel for them outside of a practice environment and not going against the same guys we see in practice. So I think these games matter for them. It's not so much about who's on the other side, because like you said, Chris isn't going to play. Devin has nothing to prove, in a preseason game, but the Kings have guys who need to get ready for something to try to make a difference going forward.
Jason Jones of The Athletic, congrats on the new role, my man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Awesome to hear. And 4-0 tonight?
I hope so. I mean, they're playing a team that no one wants. I mean, they're playing. I mean, they're playing the San Diego Chargers. I mean, hey,
yeah, they kind of are.
I'm surprised you didn't make that move. I'm surprised you didn't make that move to go to SoFi tonight.
Man, they ain't paying me like that, man. You tell me what some tickets are. My TV works just fine. I don't need to be paying no $300 to be needing binoculars. I can listen to the Manning brothers or whatever and be fine.
They're off.
Are they off tonight?
Yeah.
Oh,
they don't come back to like week 7.
See, Eli did the double bird, and look what happened.
Yeah,
Eli got him
thrown off
suspended.
TV. No,
Eli got him in trouble.
You know what it is? It's so the Monday night crew can slobber over John Gruden uninterrupted for 3 hours and everybody listen. That's what it is.
Kind of like Mac Jones and his 4.0 GPA.
You do just like that. Jason, we appreciate you, my man. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thanks. See you soon.